Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Well, this time, I'm going to take a look at this. It's an American manga. It says Witch and Wizard by James Patterson. You might know that name. Okay, and Witch and Wizard is English language manga from Hachette Books, and their imprint Yen Press. It's a graphic novel. This is Volume 1. I think they did a total of 3 from 2011. And it is, the original story is by James Patterson and Gabrielle Charbonnet. And the art here is done by, I think she did the adaptation, and the art is by Svetlana Chmakova. Oh, I butchered that. Okay, and you may be familiar with the name of James Patterson. He's a best-selling novelist and author of thrillers, primarily known for his Alex Cross series. But he is the author of, to my knowledge, only 3 young adult series. This is Witch and Wizard with Gabrielle Charbonnet. And they had a total of 5 novels, first published in 2009. And also have Daniel X and Maximum Ride, young adult novel series. And they had 5 novels. The first one was published in 2009, and IDW released 2 graphic novels of the series in 2010 and 2011, and I covered one of those. I have another episode. I'm thinking it was episode 258. I might be wrong. Go take a look and check that out. Just put in Witch and Wizard, and it should come right up under Bizarre Brain Comics. And like I said, I think they did three volumes of the manga. Okay, Svetlana Chmakova, born in 1979. She is a Russian-born Canadian artist, best known for the original English-language manga Dramacon. And some of her work was published by Tokyo Pop. Other works include Awkward and Night School. And she emigrated to Canada from Russia at 16 years of age, and graduated from the Sheridan College in the animation program in 2002. So this has pretty much the standard manga / anime style of art to it. I have to say, now I've listened to audio book versions of 2 or 3 of the volumes of Witch and Wizard, all of the Maximum Ride series, and 1, maybe 2 of the Daniel X, I can't remember, series. And I enjoyed them all. And actually, I think it's primarily just using James Patterson's name. He's probably coming up with the basic characters and plot, and then his co-authors are filling that in. That's my personal opinion. And I think did the Witch and Wizard thing partially in response to the popularity of the Harry Potter books and movies. So, and I said IDW did a couple of graphic novels, a completely different stylization. All the characters look differently, etc. And our main characters in this are Wit and Wisty All Good. And it takes place, and and it takes place in a more or less modern version of America, but with a new, relatively new fascistic government, in which they are hunting down and persecuting anyone who is a little bit different. Ooh, does that sound familiar? And imprisoning them. But in this case, they are witches and wizards. And the leader of they have it's just known as the NO, which is the New Order. The leader of which is the One Who Is the One, and they have all kinds of weird titles like that. So we'll take a little look here. You can see it starts off with a section chapter that is in full color. The rest of it is all black and white, and we see Wisty, her brother, and their parents on a gallows about to be hanged publicly in a football stadium by the New Order. This is where it is kind of a teaser. This here is the One Who Is the One. Then we go back and and this is the order. Said, by order of the New Order and the great wind, the One Who Is the One, let it be known that as of now, this moment were 12 o'clock midnight, whichever shall arrive first, following the swift triumph of the order of the ones who protect, who have obliterated the blind and dumb forces of passivity and complacency plaguing this world. All citizens must, shall, and will abide by these three orders for order, blah, 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 as declared by the one who writes decrees, by the One Who Is the One. That gives you an idea of that. Then we go back in time to see how the story began during the night, and it looks like a normal American suburb, and this is the All Good home. And suddenly, there's some noise, the kid's waking up, boom, attack team comes busting in, and they're all, Svetlana, she's some really nice artwork, and some good visual storytelling. Panel-to-panel continuity and storytelling is pretty good, and in many cases better than... Now, one of the big complaints I've got with the Japanese manga is the extremely long-form storytelling done for the most part in the manga. Some of it is done in a shorter fashion. But this is still longer than what one might be used to for American comics, but is by no means nearly as long as the Japanese manga. And because, one thing, this actually tells the story. I mean, there's so much more story in this one volume than I have normally seen in 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 volumes of the Japanese manga. Anyway, they snatch him and they call her witch and wizard and the kids have no clue what's going on, what it is, and suddenly Wisty Wisty gets so upset she's a redhead and a hothead, right? And they're both saying, "This is crazy. Look at the detail in that rifle." And they said when they're being hauled off and they're going to be separated from their parents because they go to different facilities, and says you can take one item from home. So the parents give Wisty a drumstick and Wit a book, a journal, which happens to be blank. And it's just snatched out of his hand. And they were apparently ratted out, but a kid that they know from school. His name is Byron Swain. And but the kids have no idea what they're talking about, what's going on, because he accuses them of witchcraft. But in the process, Wisty is so upset, she bursts into flames. Whoosh! Kind of like the Human Torch, but she is remains unburned, and her clothing isn't burned. And they douse the fire with it. So, and Wisty and her brother are just as surprised as anyone. Then the winds come whooshing in, and there is the one who is the one. And they are transported to a reformatory. Got the striped jammies thrown into cells with amongst other kids who are similarly accused, and she unintentionally bursts into flame again, somewhat burning one of the guards until she's doused again. And it continues. And for interrogation, Byron Swain is one of the interrogators, and he is so snooty. And just and he grabs her and he gets accidentally zapped. Static electricity, maybe, I don't know. And so apparently they have powers, but they are completely ignorant of their powers. Then while sleeping, Whit is met in his dream by his girlfriend Celia, who had gone missing some weeks before. And she says, "I'm dead, but you're have crossed over into the Shadowlands, which is where she abides. She can go." Eventually, we find out she can go kind of back and forth temporarily. Anyway, they're in court. They're sentenced to death, but the laws don't allow for execution until someone is over 18. So their parents are supposed to be executed quickly, but they have to wait. And they are convicted. And there was no defense at all. It's just an accusation and all this stuff. But they find out at a moment when they're outside or going through being transported, they see a wanted poster. Somehow their parents have escaped, and they are wanted dead or alive. So here they are in their permanent abode, which used to be a psychiatric hospital, and they were put together in a tiny room that is filthy, and interrogated again, and lots of other things going on there. And it's a lot of mental torture. Have to use toothbrushes to clean the bathroom over and over and over again. To get their food, they're let out, and they have to go through a gauntlet of ravenous dogs or wolves, which just can't quite reach them. They have to run through them to get their food and then run back to their cells. And occasionally they get nipped and the like, and sometimes lose their food. And they're there under interrogation and training and or try to be retraining, etc. And here is Whit learns something new, that their blank book isn't blank. He opens it up, and because they happen to be thinking of something, and a particular book or a book on a subject appears within the pages of whatever they are thinking of. And in the process, he goes to out of anger, strike the wall of the bathroom, and his hand goes right through it. No damage to him or the wall. And he passes through, and he turns out he momentarily enters the Shadowlands, meeting Celia again before he is drawn back. And now more stuff going on. Suddenly kablooey. Another court appearance in which their laws have been changed, and now they are eligible for execution. And I'm taking too long. And other magical things happen. They wind up getting away into the Shadowlands, where Celia helps them, and they find out there is a whole underground of kids similar to themselves, and have threats there. and where parts of the cities that have been basically destroyed and are under occasional bombardment because the government is trying to eliminate this underground of these kids who then go on rescue missions, try to rescue other kids, and then eventually will want to try to assault and overthrow this fascistic government. And it's a pretty it's fairly quick, and it's a fun read. In the process, Wisty has accidentally, unintentionally, turned Byron Swain into a weasel. They kept calling him a weasel, and one time she called him a weasel, and he turned into a weasel. And he is with them while they have been out. He is learning more, and he's starting to have second thoughts. He's more stuff going on than he realizes. And their hideout is in Garfunkel's department store. Many place for them to live. They wind up having to go work together to go try to rescue another bunch of kids who are going to be executed. Wisty turns herself into a mouse to get inside, and then changes back. And while Wit is disguised as a guard to get the bunch of the kids out of there, chased by a train on the subway that they thought was unused. All kinds of other. It's a good read, and we in the process we find out that the one who is the leader of all this, and he is also magical. He is a wizard himself, and I think he wants the power, all the power for himself, which is why he is trying to get rid of all of the other witches and wizards in the world. And in the process, their home community that was completely razed and turned into a farm, but they go to their old home, and what a tree! Just a tree that was in their yard is still there, and they remember a little rhyme that their mothers used to say. And whenever they came home, they recited, and things changed. And there is their home, their house, and their parents right there. But they are not really there. It is a magical image from elsewhere. It gives them a little bit of background, informs them that the book that has everything a witch and wizard needs to know. And Wisty's drumstick turns into a magic wand, and on they go. Then we're back where we started, with them at the gallows, which is where it says things are not always as they seem, and then it is continued. So if I want to try. I haven't seen any of the others, but I really want to get the other volumes and read it, because it's been several years since I've listened to the audio books, so I don't remember what happens. But obviously they get away somehow. So that is all I had to share with you this time. It has some nice artwork, long form storytelling, but not ridiculously long necessarily. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. And remember, whoosh, come on, there we go. Comics are art.